Hey everybody, Felix Staffelbaker here. I wanted to make a video about the EOS Power Up model. I'm going to read from EOS.io, which is the Block 1 official site, the overview of the EOS Power Up model. How public blockchains allocate and manage on-chain resources is extremely important. Some networks operate on the basis of transaction fees, where prices go up as mere people try to transact. Those fees are collected by miners. The EOS public blockchain has a different model that involves locking up EOS tokens to reserve resources. On the EOS public blockchain, there are three resources that matter: CPU bandwidth, which is CPU, which is the amount of the time it takes to process a transaction; the network bandwidth, net, which is the size of the transaction measured in bytes; and RAM, which is the method for storing data on-chain measured in bytes. We're going to talk about CPU and net and how we propose to evolve them moving forward. Currently, EOS tokens are referred to as owning digital real estate. Owning a percentage of all EOS is likened to controlling a percentage of the total resources on-chain. When a user locks up their tokens, they reserve a percentage of the total available resources. The amount of CPU and net each user receives was proportioned to that amount of tokens they had locked up. If you have 1% of the tokens, you have 1% of the resources. There were challenges with this model. Resources sitting idle. Not everyone locks up their tokens to access resources. Some lock up their tokens for additional security, while others do it to solely vote. Regardless, resources are still reserved when a user locks up their tokens. Those resources sat idle even if others wanted access to them. Barriers to obtaining additional resources. Users that try to transact but find that they don't have enough resources to do so are presented with three options. They can, 1, purchase more EOS to transact. This is time consuming and not a good experience if a user is merely trying to accomplish or transfer or something similar. 2, obtain resources from the resource exchange, the REX. The amount of resources available from the REX have depleted multiple times in the past. It's not clear if there's enough liquidity in REX to support resource allocation needs across the network. 3, use a wallet that covers resources. This is a good solution, but these wallets may not be known to new users. In addition, many of these wallets rely on REX, which brings us back to the liquidity issue above. New user costs. Obtaining additional EOS to reserve resources is cumbersome for reasons mentioned above. We're proposing the next evolution to this model: a community in sync. Since fall of 2020, Block 1 has engaged with the rest of the EOS.io developer community to evaluate a newly proposed model for how the EOS public blockchain allocates CPU and net resources. We call this the EOS Power Up model, and we believe it provides greater freedom and efficiency for the EOS public blockchain. We provided a bug bounty program and block producer voting program to incentivize engagement with the code. At the time of writing, over 250 individuals have joined the conversation on Telegram, and over 40 block producer candidates have provided feedback, all of which has been positive. Of the bug bounty submissions, none identified any vulnerabilities. We'd like to acknowledge the entire community who participated in discussions that resulted in the proposed EOS Power Up model window being shortened from 30 days to 24 hours. We also acknowledge EOS Authority for a suggestion that resulted in a code change. The EOS model explained. The EOS community has done an excellent job at breaking down how this new model works. EOS Vibes, an EOS block producer candidate, explained it pretty well. If you go to EOS Vibes _BP on Twitter, you can find that. The EOS Power Up model presents users with two choices. 1, Pay a small fee to power up your account for 24 hours with CPU and net bandwidth that you can use to fulfill your transactions needs. Or number 2, you can deposit your idle tokens to receive a percentage of the fees generated by the entire EOS public blockchain. Imagine if token holders on proof of work networks were the recipients of fees generated by a transactional activity on chain instead of miners. That's essentially what's happening here. Depending on your usage level and the total amount of tokens deposited, the fees you collect may offset the fees you pay to power up your account. And all of this happens within the context of ensuring greater availability of system resources, creating an amazing user experience, the future of resource providers. A shared vision with the EOS public blockchain ecosystem is that EOS.io is robust enough of a development platform to support seamless user experiences. This vision imagines an on-chain resource management is abstracted away from the end user to the point their experience is indistinguishable from a typical application. We believe that vision can be achieved through resource providers, which we view as middleware that dynamically and efficiently meet the resource needs of users. This middleware can be offered by a third party or by end user applications. However, the way the EOS Power Up model's fees are handled is up to the providers and the applications. We encourage EOS community members to help spur development of open source SDKs that enable easy resource provider integration within end user experiences. Please reach out to us if you are working on such a solution. Driving this forward, we believe that the EOS Power Up model alleviates many resource challenges of the EOS public blockchain and seeks to increase alignment between token holders and the usage of the EOS public blockchain. It is our expectation that, similar to EOS.io 1.8 consensus upgrade that occurred in Q3 and Q4 of 2019, from within the rest of the EOS community will emerge to lead that development. Adoption of the EOS Power Up model. We look forward to participating as a member of the EOS community. And then basically we are waiting for the block producers to all agree, 15 out of the 21 block producers to agree on the new model, and then it will actually be able to be implemented. So you can go to EOSauthority.com, and if you actually Google the EOS Power Up model, EOS Authority, it'll take you right to their page, and they have a little roadmap of actually how long each part of the upgrade takes. And you can look at that and see. Right now it was originally scheduled for sometime in April, but it looks like it's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. Yves LaRose has really taken a leadership role and gotten everybody to agree to push this up, and now we're seeing that there's really only one or two more steps before this can be implemented on a broad scale. And once this is really, the EOS Power Up model is set in stone and the protocol changes to it, it's really going to open up EOS, and I believe all-time highs and much, much, much more is upon us. So I just wanted to put that out there. Stoffel Baker out.